Hello folks, welcome to another Irish whiskey review with me, Marty Macaulay. Again, you can see on the label already, it's not Irish whiskey, it's actually an American whiskey from Arizona, as you can see on the label. Now, I've been banging this drum for a while about the US and how many new distilleries there are. And okay, some of them are very, very small, don't make a huge amount of stuff. Others making big volumes of stuff, but there are thousands of them now, and just more and more and more by the day. And the thing about whiskey is regionality plays a huge part in whiskey. Whether you're Scots, whether you're Irish, Japanese, all of this kind of thing, and that sort of nationalism, if you like, is regionality, whatever way you want to call it. It's a huge part of it. It really is. I mean, there's laws for various whiskey regions. You know, Scotland and Ireland have had them for a considerable length of time. England, with its burgeoning distilling scene, lots of new distilleries there. Lots of them being very, very highly regarded. No protective legislation for it yet. Again, you have sort of Japanese whiskies. There's new Japanese whiskey laws coming in, which long overdue, to be honest. But that regionality, and the US, with its flag-waving patriotism, is going to be massive in this. American whiskies are very proudly American whiskies, and this state area is really, it's really something that they embrace and really hold on to. Probably for all the better. Now, when you think of various regions, you think of automatically the place they're from, and that sort of regionality, not terroir, not to do with the grain. But you think of Scotland. Scotland, very cold, wet, pretty much the same as Ireland. You know, you imagine sitting around a fire of an evening, having a little whiskey, warming you from the inside, relaxing, having jumped over the Highlands and all this kind of stuff. Not really true, but that's kind of the image that you get. You know, wee Scotty dog at the side, down beside you, that kind of thing. Whiskey's trying to get away from that, but nonetheless, that's what you're going to think. But as soon as you see Scotland, you think of, you know, clansmen and the bagpipes. Irish whiskey, you think of guys sitting around having a drink of an evening and a sing-song and a bit of chat. It's not really true either, but that's what the impression you get. Arizona whiskey, automatically, you have to think of cowboys. You have to think of guys knocking back a shot and shooting each other. You know, all of that. That's just exactly what you're going to think. It's that regionality. Now, having been to Tombstone, I'll let you in a little secret. Joe Biden doesn't get a lot of support in Tombstone, Arizona. You can kind of understand where that comes from. Tombstone is like a movie set. You know, it's basically set up like a film set, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant place. Gorgeous, beautiful bars in it. Some fabulous bars. Also, the weirdest museum I was ever in. Not that the topic of the museum was weird. It was to Audie Murphy, who, if you don't know who Audie Murphy is, go and check this guy out. He was unbelievable. Most decorated soldier, US soldier of World War II, for very good reason. He was about 4'3" tall. He was a tiny little guy who had just done these remarkable things. Was awarded every medal that they could possibly give him. And they opened a museum. One guy has opened a museum to him in Tombstone. It's the only museum in the world where someone waved a gun in my face. They locked me in. It was very surreal. It was very, very, very weird. But anyway, this is an Arizona whiskey. And you want to automatically say, it's going to be bad. You know, it's going to be gut-rotty stuff. You know, have that image. That's kind of what I would conjure up automatically. That's just my bias and your prejudice. It was the same whenever people first heard about Japanese whiskey. They were like, you heard lots of people saying, even the Japanese are having a go now. And then they tasted it and were like, bloody hell, this is amazing. Albeit very expensive, right? We're well aware of that. But Indian whiskey probably suffers from the same reputation until people try Amrit and John Paul and stuff. Taiwanese whiskey, I suppose people probably don't really know enough about Taiwan to give it the any opinion really. A lot of people probably don't know that much about it. And then they taste Cab Lan, and it's a superb whiskey. So yeah, don't judge these things by your sort of prejudice. Now, this top, by the way, I started filming one of these, had to stop and start again because I couldn't get the top off. This is not cork, it's that sort of rubbery thing. And it really, you push it down in and it's a nightmare to get out. You know, I had to go and get a knife and basically go around it to pop it up, which is not good, I don't like that. Now this is SanTan Sacred Stave High Rye Bourbon. Let me see, get one of the old glickies. Aged in oak, finished in hand-selected wine barrels, proudly crafted and hand-bottled in Arizona. I'm not sure what hand-bottling means. I mean, surely it's done by a machine. I don't think anybody sat with a funnel filling these up. You know, if they did, God love them. Now it's 45%, and it's Cabernet cask finished, handmade, and a little dagger and snake logo, very reminiscent of the sort of medical profession. Which I don't know whether it's not a medical product. I'll just clear that up. But yeah. So what's it like? Now it's high rye. It's 28% rye, which is it's quite high. First off, what I'm going to say is it's got a very alcoholic nose to it, a very alcohol-laden nose. You smell the alcohol really quite strong from a distance away. Now, the nose isn't great. It's quite nutty, quite wood-laden. This is where the problem arrives. If you read the label, it says one thing, and if you go to the website, it's slightly different. It says it's matured in New American oak, which would be really quite sharp, quite green, quite tannic, quite astringent and bitter. And then it's finished in Tawny, port and Madeira casks on the website. But on this it says Cabernet cask finish. Madeira's not made with Cabernet grapes. It's made with a different type of grape, Madeira. And it's quite confusing. What is it? Now there's no age statement on it, which automatically leads you to know that it has to be cast for more than 4 years. It's not 4 years in American oak, New American oak. You can tell that straight away. On the nose, it's quite cinnamony. In fact, it's very cinnamony. Sweet cinnamon lozenge. There are very woody, very nutty, mixed nuts, fresh cracked nuts, quite syrupy sweet, but there's lots of cinnamon there, lots of cinnamon, lots of heavy wood notes, and lots of oaky, but it's not over oak, it's not astringent. Or green is what I really meant. Again, on the tongue, again it's quite heavy, woody, nice mouthfeel, I have to give it that. It's quite rounded in balance and flavour. Nutty, woody, not getting a huge amount of fruit off it, if I'm totally honest. There's fruit there, but it's not by far and away, it's not the most prevalent flavour you're getting. It's quite low down. And the sugary sweetness, it's not really all that sweet. But by the same token, it's not got bags of flavour. Now, the fact that there's no age statement on it is a bit of a shame, really, because by law it has to have one if it's less than 4 years old. And for a whiskey that's in Arizona, they don't need huge amounts of time. So it probably would have benefited in some way of having the age statement. Now, it's all a bit confusing because it says Cabernet casks here. On the website it says Tawny, Port and Madeira. So it's not really the same thing. So what is it? And I don't know. The rye element to it, it says high rye. There's spice there, but I'm not picking up masses of rye element to it, which is a bit strange. So I'm very confused by it. Is it good? It's not bad, but it's just a little bit. It's hard to buy into a story when you're not 100% sure what all it is. It says on it pure malt, but it's high rye. It's a bourbon, so it's got 51% minimum corn. It says on the label it's Cabernet cask, but on the website it's finished in Tawny, Port and Madeira. I'm not exactly sure what it is. Is it tasty? It's okay. It's not bad. It's just not fantastic, and it's a little bit confusing. Nice bit of caramel on the finish, which going along with the cinnamony note actually works quite well. But it's hard to sort of buy into it when it's a little bit confused and contrived. I don't like that stopper. That takes a bit of force to get that off. Switch to a bit of cork, guys. Not do you a pin of harm. Yeah, that's not good. That's getting marked down for that because it's an absolute nightmare to get off. 21st century flavours. It says on it, hand selected wine barrels, hand bottled, blah 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 blah. To me, that doesn't mean a huge amount. When it says hand selected, well, what do you mean hand selected? It wasn't selected by a robot. It wasn't selected. You didn't kick it with your foot. It's one of these terms that people just use, and they don't actually really mean a huge amount. At the top of the bottle, there's this condensation as well, which seems to happen. You can't really pick that up, but it's there. You see it? And that, yeah, it just tells me there's something just not 100% quite right with that stopper. Yeah, but anyway, I have to give this a mark, I suppose. I give it a 6.5 out of 10. And again, I'm not really. If you decide to give this a whirl, you probably won't be too disappointed in it, but it's not going to blow your socks off. I think it was $40 or something around that. It wasn't particularly expensive. Well worth a little bit of a punt if you ever are capable of buying it. But again, you probably can find something better to put your money into. But if you're from Arizona and you feel brave enough to go into the Audie Murphy Museum in Tombstone, probably best to have a couple of these in you, but keep your voice down because he watches you everywhere you go around the museum, and he proudly shows that he's armed. Yeah, so probably a swift half before you go in. So Sacred Stave from Arizona, bourbon whiskey, Cabernet cask finished. Lots of these new various cask finishes for bourbons. Some of them work, some of them don't. This, I'm not 100% sure what it is it's finished, and if I'm totally honest, it's very confusing. But yeah, Sacred Stave from Arizona. That's all from me. Join me and Justin every Saturday night for the Irish Whiskey Review, where we talk all manner of things whiskey. We are a whiskey show based in Ireland. Primarily we do Irish whiskey, but we don't limit ourselves. We go all around the world. We try and talk to as many people as possible. Irish people tend to do that. We try and talk to as many people as possible all around the world. So join us. Don't forget to subscribe, and take care.